G'day guys. I've been doing a little bit of studying and researching into the area of crime or criminology or whatever you would like to call it, criminal behaviour, generally speaking. And that's something that's kind of fascinated me over the years, because as a child I grew up reading children's detective stories. The Five Investigators was the first novel series that I read, and it absolutely fascinated and captivated me, and it's something that I've never really gotten over, so to speak. I've continued to be fascinated by detective stories and understanding criminal behaviour. And I've come to some conclusions as a result of some of my recent study and investigation of criminal behaviour. And of course, a lot of it comes from my spiritual insights as well. So being a well-studied and practiced Christian, I understand the spiritual realm as well as the physical realm. And I'm also a student of psychology, so I understand the psychological aspects of human behaviour. So I consider myself a fairly well-rounded person when it comes to commenting on these kind of things. So let me get broadly to the theory that I'm proposing of criminal behaviour. So if we think of humanity as tiered in terms of, shall we say, socially acceptable or possibly morally acceptable behaviour, so a person that fits in socially and morally with most normal behaviour, being our prime example of a top tier person, somebody who's completely morally and ethically in tune with the rest of society, doesn't break any laws, doesn't do anything immoral or unethical. That's our top tier person. And if we grade that down to the lowest levels of society, we see some inherent patterns that occur here. And it seems like a degradation of human nature as we step down. So I would suggest that the people who are at the morally highest levels are the people who are closely in step with God, the living God, the Son of God, Jesus Christ. If you keep in step with Him, you are morally at the highest level of humanity, because you're attaining to be God-like, to be like the Son of Man, the Son of God. And that is the highest any man or woman can aspire to. But humanity tends to, through its sinful nature, step down from this high aspiration. So people can, through indulging in sinful practices or allowing sin into their lives, become morally less and less and less in tune with God, become more and more perverted and turn further and further away from God. So their behaviour can become animal-like. They start behaving like animals. But below that, it gets even worse. You can get below animal behaviour, lower and lower and lower and lower, and you end up with a behaviour that's insect-like. And this is something I think personally I've discovered, which I'm not sure if a lot of other theorists have come up with, this idea that human behaviour can go so dreadfully wrong that it can end up the person is behaving like an insect. Seriously, like an insect. So I'll just pause it there for a moment. Okay, so animal behaviour. It's more like, the person is reacting more instinctively to situations. So tendency towards violence and violent behaviour, sort of doing things that are aggressive, um, you know, acting out aggressively, striking other people, doing things that are violent. But to devolve to a lower level is to do things that are more in tune with insect-like behavior. So let me give you examples of that. People who start acting like a spider or a bee or a wasp. You think, well, how could you act like a spider or a bee or a wasp? Well, it is possible, believe me. Because if you get somebody who's going around with a syringe that has potent drugs in it, drugs that can immobilize someone, immobilize their muscles, induce them into hallucinogenic states, like rape drugs or muscle relaxant drugs. These kind of people are more like insects. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They are like insects. Okay, because what does an insect do? Like a spider or a wasp or a bee, sorry. So these insects, they paralyze their prey before they consume them, right? So a spider will sting, or a bee or a wasp. Bees, not so much, maybe it's a defensive mechanism, but certainly spiders that are more predatory will bite a prey to paralyze it. Other creatures do that, other insects do that, use powerful paralyzing bites and stings. So they will paralyze their prey and then eat them, basically. So this is an insect-like behavior. And there are criminals that will emulate this. They will imitate this behavior. They will use drugs that paralyze people. And they will paralyze the person to either kill them or sexually assault them. So they've gotten to the level of an insect. They've become insects, right? Paralyzing with poisons and drugs. That's insect-like behavior. Above that, I guess you've got animal behavior, which is a more violent, aggressive attack, kind of behavior. So there you have it. So there you have the levels of criminal behavior, from being a normal human being to being animal-like to being insect-like. So think about it. God bless you all. See you next time.